is going to be a really interesting conversation around the sharing economy from Jeremiah Owyang, I think. Jeremiah, want to come up?
All right. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate that, Eric. Hey, everybody. I'm Jeremiah Owyang. 3 weeks ago, I left my executive appointment, all the Altimeter Group, and I started a new company. This is the first time I'm presenting as the chief catalyst of crowd. Very excited to be here and share with you today. I'm here to talk about the collaborative economy. You might have heard terms like peer-to-peer or the trust economy, the sharing economy, the maker movement. All of those terms all work. But the difference now that we're seeing is a collaboration between startups, corporations, cities, and people all working together. And that's what we call this collaborative economy. And the goal is for this equation to work for shared value for everybody. In fact, the term consumer doesn't really even fit when people are sharing their homes and their cars or making their own products and even drones that land up here on the stage. The relationship that corporations today have in this room with these empowered people have changed. Some of the words that describe the corporations in this room and that we'll be presenting on stage, they're innovative, you're empowering other people, built to last, and of course, you're profitable. And when you put all of these words together, it actually accurately describes what is known as resilience. And being resilient, you can adapt to change, you can adapt to different markets, and you can stay ahead of the curve. Now, the way to do that is to join the collaborative economy. You can become resilient. This is the research that I published at my last company, Altimeter Group. I'm still on the board. And this is a very easy to use framework that you can apply today. And this research is available publicly on the Altimeter site. And for companies, they're not sure exactly how do you join the collaborative economy when people are empowered to get what they need from each other. And it's very simple, and yet at the same time, very complex. It requires business model change. So if you have products or services or marketplaces, the opportunity is to actually change that function. And it looks very simple, and I'll walk through each of these models today. If your company sells products, you now must turn them into services. If your company offers services, you simply turn them into marketplaces. And if you have marketplaces, you activate them and empower them to actually build your products. I'll walk through each of these three phases and show you examples of what today's resilient brands are doing to adopt and adapt and to benefit from these new market changes. The first one, if you sell products, you turn them into services, and we call this company as a service. And it means you don't just sell products anymore. You now make them available on demand. You rent them, or if you provide consumable goods, you might turn it into a subscription model or even gift them. Let's take a look. Company as a service. Is it new? No, not new at all. Netflix has been doing DVDs as a service, and Salesforce has been selling software as a service for a number of years. These are not new models, and these models achieve resiliency through efficiency. But we're seeing that innovative, resilient companies today are changing their business models to suit the changing needs of these empowered people. Millennials are less likely to own cars. They want just access to them. BMW with the Drive Now program and Toyota both now rent cars here in San Francisco in addition to selling the cars. This is a new business model, BMW as a service and Toyota as a service. The 1 Series and Toyota has a number of cars you can get on demand, including they're making some specific cars designed for selling. One of the chief strategy executives at BMW presented at BMW at a Stanford event, and I love this quote he said, "Rather than sell one car one time, let's sell it 1,000 times. Sell one car 1,000 times." Now, what if you sell consumable products? Well, you can actually turn this into a subscription model. 2 weeks ago, there was a conference here in San Francisco called the Subscription Economy. And you can now get razors and other funny things as a service for the gentleman. For the ladies in our lives, you can also get beauty as a service. Welcome to Beauty Box, where every month 4 to 5 distinct, unique, hand-selected items are delivered to you on a subscription-based model. This is a higher form of loyalty, and this also makes it ensure that you're selling a product quickly and you have that commitment for that year. It's very different than trying to put things on shelves. It's an on-demand model. And lastly, the highest form that we're seeing is companies moving past their entire value set, beyond the product set, and now selling at the whole value chain level. This is Peugeot's MU mobility program, MU. And they offer a membership subscription. And you can now have access to cars, electric cars, carpools, buses, and even scooters and bikes. They don't even make some of those products, but now they're making them available for anybody to have access to it. Peugeot has moved past just selling cars, but is now focused on mobility. It's a bigger play as a service. Number 2, if your company sells services, now you must turn them into marketplaces. And we call this motivate a marketplace. And as we move around this collaborative economy value chain, it gets more complex. And this one is a real struggle for executives. It means you actually have to enable and encourage your customers to resell your products. It actually means you reduce the need for them to actually buy anew and encourage them to resell used goods. That seems crazy, right? Who is Airbnb disrupting? Hotels? Absolutely. Well, right now, and you're probably watching the news, lobbyists, which are likely funded by hotels, are fighting Airbnb, one fine stay, and a new one just emerged today. They're fighting it at the federal level, state level, local level, municipal level. New York is in an embroiled battle. I say there's a new opportunity. There's a collaborative, shared value business model at hand. And this model doesn't exist yet. No hotel has done this. This is fictional. But I know innovative companies like the Marriott and the W have already moved into this space, that there's a new business model. And it means in the future, I expect that a white label software will emerge that will replicate Airbnb. I actually know of 2 startups working on that right now. One of them is in San Francisco. And it means that eventually Marriott or Hyatt will franchise the crowd. It means that we could have Marriott Home, or Hyatt Local, or the W House. And they will actually encourage people to stay at other people's homes on the MarriottBnB.com website. And you can franchise the crowd. Now, what does the host get? Well, they get access to loyalty members from the Marriott Loyalty Club that you wouldn't have gotten in the first place. They also get access to towels and soaps, concierge services, and cleaning services. What does the guest get? The guest still gets that local experience, plus a level of trust, Marriott certified home. And what does Marriott or Hyatt or any hotel get? Well, they get to sell value-added services into new locations, and they get at least 10% cut from a transaction they never were to get in the first place. In the future, corporations will franchise the crowd. Does it seem like science fiction? Well, we're already seeing a few examples emerge today. I know GM's here today, one of the leaders in the space who partnered with Relay Ride, and using OnStar technology, they can activate and find cars that are actually idle and make them available to be rented amongst peer-to-peer in ownership, activating idle resources beyond the 1% usage of a car. Or Patagonia, who partnered with eBay for the Common Threads initiative, where they encourage people to actually buy products that are used, gently worn, gently loved. It's inspiring to its sustainability mission, rather than just buying anew. And some of the proceeds are shared with nonprofits. So it's purposeful, it's reusing goods and services, and that's tapping into marketplaces where things already exist, and building a deeper brand loyalty that we haven't seen before. So those are a few examples motivate a marketplace. For this last example, it gets more complicated as we move around the collaborative economy value chain. And if you have a marketplace, you can go to the most advanced level and provide your own market a platform to build your products. And this is the highest form of loyalty, when you actually have a shared fate with your customers, because now they're collaborating in every aspect when it comes to your company. This diagram represents a platform that you can give to your customers to collaborate with them to drive new shared value. Now, what does shared value look like? Well, the verb really stems around the co-word. And we know this word because it's incorporation or collaboration. But now we're going to extend that co-word to every single business unit, every single business function, every single department in your company. For example, the co-word can now apply to co-funding, or designing, developing, producing, delivering, storing, or even marketing. The crowd can augment every single department in your company. We're not seeing a company fully do this today yet, but I'll show you a few examples of leading corporations and startups that are doing this today. Let's take a look. Kickstarter, which we're probably all familiar with, the crowd can choose and decide which products should come to market. This watch, the Pebble, was released and launched before the Samsung watch came out. The crowd beat Samsung to the punch on this one. They raised over $10 million. We know that companies themselves are already allowing crowdfunding. U-Haul, which is famed for their do-it-yourself community, allows people to actually fund their trucks, and you can own a part of that truck as you use it. What about designing products? Nike allows people to actually co-design the products, the variation, the style, the color. Very specific ways of personalization at scale. Personalization at scale that's being enabled. And next is Quirky, who's partnered with GE, who's on stage after me. Quirky and GE are figuring out how the crowd can design new products. So the way Quirky works is the crowd can submit ideas for new products. The team at Quirky.com, which is composed of product engineers and developers and marketers, decides which products can be actually built, and they take them and they get them onto shelves. So it's a new form of the co-development of products. And then Etsy, a local community of artisans. We've seen two resilient brands partner with Etsy so far, Nordstrom's and West Elm, where people are working together to create local artisan crafts and putting them onto shelves in those locations. And lastly, thanks to Tim sharing on stage, the rise of the maker movement. I was in Shapeway's factory in New York last week, where they produce things in metal and bronze and steel and gold and plastic, and even in wood can be created. People are starting to become their own production facilities. This has massive implications to global trade if things are going to be made at a local level. Logistics as we know it in warehousing starts to change. So what happens when the crowd becomes your warehouse? Meet Lockatron. Lockatron is a crowd-funded electronic lock that goes onto the door of your car or your house or at your desk, and you can open it using a mobile app. This means that if there's any brands here that make consumable, durable, or retailers, you can forward deploy, quoting Andy Rubin from Uredale.com, forward deploy products into neighborhoods, and the crowd becomes your warehouse. The crowd becomes your logistics. Well, how do those products get there? Well, we're seeing the crowd is actually becoming part of your supply chain to deliver goods. Right now, there's a shipping war in San Francisco. eBay, Walmart, Google, Postmates, Instacart, Deliv.co can all deliver goods from retailers within 1 hour to your house. I used Google Shopping Express yesterday, got a bottle of bleach. So we're seeing these things happen at no cost. There's a shipping war at hand. Now, people ask, how is this different than Webvan 10 years ago? It's very different. These companies hold no inventory. It's all at local level. In fact, when you look carefully, the reason why Google invested in Uber and also Google also invests in Google Shopping Express is because Uber is the next Amazon. That's right. Uber will deliver local goods cheaper and faster than Amazon will from their fulfillment center. Uber and Google, Uber put $260 million into Uber. These two are partnered, Google and Uber. That is the next Amazon at local level. So to close off this example, what about companies that don't offer physical goods? Barclays Card did something very innovative, putting together many of these models where they allowed for crowdsourcing, crowdfunding, and the crowd can determine where the profits go for this new card called the Barclays Card Ring. This innovative community fostered loyalty within their community and actually brought them all together. So putting all three things together, this is the collaborative economy value chain. Your products become services. That's called company as a service. Services become marketplaces, and marketplaces build your products. You and your customers will come together for new shared value. So to close things out, people are now empowered to get what they need from each other. The crowd has become a company. I showed you a number of examples how they are empowered. Corporations, the folks in this room, we must use these same technologies to regain relevancy. It's not easy. It requires business model change. But if you do that, the reward is great. You become a resilient brand. Thank you so much for having me. I started a new company to help corporations on this. I'll be here during the break. Welcome to the collaborative economy.